Welcome back to another episode of The Illuminated Path. I'm so excited to welcome to the show an amazing inspirational guest. Her name is Malaysia Harrell. She is a board certified psychotherapist, a spiritual transformation coach, an award winning entrepreneur, veteran, keynote speaker, and author. All around, just a powerhouse woman. Underneath that, she also considers herself a healer, an unleasher, and someone that really walks women through radical transformation. We are going to talk all about her story. She definitely has an against all odds success story, and she's been able to really manifest these huge opportunities and this huge transformation at different seasons in her life. Drawing from her own personal experience, her deep commitment to mental health advocacy, she's also founded Blissful Life Consulting LLC. So, what I want to share in the episode today, as we get into it, is just how you can feel in Malaysia's presence, how grounded, how intuitive, and just how inspirational she is. And so I'm excited to introduce her to the Eno Wellness community. Let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome to the Illuminated Path podcast. I'm your host, Liv, founder of Eno Wellness Collective. My wellness journey started with yoga, which led me down the path of exploring healing modalities like meditation, breath work, sound healing, mindset work, and so much more. This exploration inspired my mission to help others find what lights them up. Get comfortable and curious as we learn from experts, teachers, and creators who are lighting up their communities and living an inspired, expansive life. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the show, Malaysia. So nice to have you here.
Thank you, Livia. I'm so honored to be here.
Yes. As I was, reading up on your background and your story and everything that you do, I knew that it was going to be a really aligned fit for the Eno Wellness community and the Illuminated Path community. And so
Yes.
where I would love to kick us off is, I know that you have had quite a story and quite a sort of evolution, transformation, many different, career paths. And in particular, I know that you had been in the military, which we were just talking about right before we hopped on the recording. So I would love to have us start there and just share a little bit about your story from the military into really being a mental health advocate.
Yes. So thank you again. And I was mental health this whole time, even before I went into the military. So I decided to do mental health. I think in undergrad, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I did pre-med, I did psychology. And later on, I had a career before I went into the military, and it wasn't until 9/11 happened that I decided to go into the military. But I think I really got into mental health because I had experienced so much, with my mom and, other family members and just different things coming up. And, the environment that I came up in, it's just like I just had this knack for wanting to understand, human behavior and maybe making an impact on, helping people, right? And so most people who go into helping professions are people who've experienced something, right? We don't do this. A lot of us don't do it just to do it. I had a very thriving military career, and it wasn't until 2020, I had a near death experience. And what was significant about that is um, I ended up having sepsis. I was in the hospital a long time. I was 254 pounds. This was over a series of 5 years. Had developed sarcoidosis, Bell's palsy. My face drooped all the way on one side. And it was then that I realized, right? Because I thought, oh, I'm the therapist, right? I'm the person that's helping everybody. It wasn't until I had to face that other side, right? The other side of the coin of actually being a patient, to understand what it was to really kind of go through darkness on my own. I mean, I had been through a lot already, but I had put that all behind me. And it wasn't until, this happen that number one, you're for all those boxes that are so nicely boxed up with your traumas, compartmentalized. They all just the door opens and they fall on the floor. No organization, you don't know what's coming. Oh, I went through that. I don't even remember. And so I think I have more of a level of understanding, compassion, and empathy, so delivering services, right? I love, to support clients. I have coaching clients, behavioral health clients, but I think now I was forced to experience it in a different way. So it's easy to learn and be the expert and treat. But until you've had to really come out of that thing yourself, that's why I'm so passionate. And so I decided to incorporate the mind body medicine component, the complementary and alternative medicine, right, to it with the mental health. Because I had been treating people for years and I realized, like, okay, you coming to therapy and you got a big thing of Monster and Liquid Death and all this stuff on the table, and you talking about having anxiety, you know? So now I promote the holistic concept for healing. You could be all cute on the outside, but your spirit is not really aligned. You feel disconnected a lot. And so, or you're just doing a job and you're successful on the outside, you're making money, right? So that's what, oh, you fine. You got a nice house, you got a family, you got children. You fine. You just not grateful. But you're dying inside, completely miserable. You're crying in your car. Wait a minute now. Is that really success? So that's how I kind of got to where I am now.
Wow. So the near death experience in 2020, it sounds like that was really a turning point for you and a shift of like almost a dark night of the soul, if you will, right? Of really
Yes,
experiencing
definitely. Yep.
the sort of the darkness, the shadow side of
Mhm.
health in general, mental health, physical
Yes.
health, and then kind of
Mhm.
emerging with some new insight. So for your own healing journey, you mentioned a few things that you were experiencing physically, but what did you find in your own healing was the most supportive? Like what, because I imagine in the work that you do as a coach and professional, like you're like, okay, I have the tools, right? I know what to do. But when it
Yeah.
is actually you in the room, right, or in the on the patient side, it's like there's a whole different, range of things that you can use for your healing. So what did you find was the most supportive?
Ooh, that I mean, there were because I just was talking about this earlier, what were some of the things that I did, but the biggest thing, and I know this is gonna sound real, like, really? And I had to get this tattooed on my arm. I don't know if you're able to see it. Probably not. But it says the art of surrender. And the reason why I had to get it tattooed is because I had to remember it. I had to embrace that. I had to I continuously need to be reminded of that. And so again, I'm like, "Oh, I got this. You know, I'm gonna get through this." And but really I was being transformed. You think, "Oh, I just need to get back to who I was before." And that's not always the case. You might be transforming to become something even bigger because of the calling that's on your life. You can't be that person that you were before. So a lot of us start to grieve. I used to be able to do this. I used to do this. I was in uniform. I had to take it off, you know? But what if you were delivered from that life? What if you're going to now use the gifts that you've now been given, that have been bestowed upon you, to support people in a different way that only you can do what your divine assignment is? And so once I embrace that, I'm like, oh, this might be an opportunity here. And let me, so I think, okay, okay, God, I know you told me that I'm supposed to do something, but what I saw and with the downloads I got say I need a lot of money to do it. But what if I allow God to blow my mind and not try to control everything, right? So you come out of the military, you go into entrepreneurship. And in the military, it's a lot of network and, you got to meet all the criteria. It's a lot of wheeling and dealing. And you think you need to do that in the entrepreneurial space, right? I got to go to all these networking events. I got to meet this person, meet that person. And I started doing stuff and it was exhausting. I was like, I I don't have it. I don't have the energy. I don't have the capacity. I don't want it. What if I align with whatever I'm supposed to have or where I'm supposed to be? What if I just surrender and I align with it? And you start to see miracles happen that you never thought would happen. And so for people who've overcome the most tremendous odds, they can tell you it's when you stop beating yourself up, knocking your head on that wall, getting off the hamster wheel and saying, okay, I trust you. We're going to do it your way now.
Mm, yes. I know a lot of people listening who have had who can resonate with that, right? Of really the art of surrender, the art of letting
Yes.
go, of like creating
Yes.
space, the art and I love that one of the sort of words that I saw as I was looking into your work was faith filled manifestation, and I love
Yes.
that, like having that faith filled part of manifestation. So when
Yes.
you were moving into entrepreneurship, like you said, that transition out of the military into entrepreneurship, doing things differently, what did you notice about that faith filled part of manifestation outside of surrender, which you mentioned? Like, are there other mindset shifts or even experiences that you had that really let you believe in the faith part of that manifestation?
There's so many every day, honestly. When you become aligned with the spiritual realm, right? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. You don't experience the world the same way that everybody else does. You ever been in a situation where when you're younger, and I don't want to use young because there's some people who are very spiritually inclined from childhood, right? We've known people like that. But it's like I knew that person was running game on me, or I knew they didn't have my best interests at heart, but I was still friends with them for 5 years, 10. You know what I mean? You knew. But when you operate in the spiritual realm, you find out. I mean, sometimes it's challenging. It's like, well, look, they're really nice people and they have all this stuff, and I need them to do this or we need to collaborate.
Mhm.
Trust it. Use
Yeah.
your use the gifts that you've been given, the level of discernment. But as far as faith-filled manifestation, there's so many. We could talk all day, but one that was significant because there's always those ones, right, where you're like, "Oh, what you doing?" So when I had my retirement ceremony, it was like a wedding, right? You would have thought it was like this big high ranking brass. I had worked very closely with the White House. I was the special assistant to the Surgeon General of the United States. Like I was going to be a senator, like all those things. Like I had the stuff in the bag. And so when I had my retirement ceremony, it was like a funeral. I was so sad. My life was being broken because I realized that the way I was taught at a very young age was that success and love was in the things that I accomplished because I didn't get it at home. So when I went to school and my teachers, they honor me, put me in every gifted and talented program. And so I was really sad that day. And I just didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know with my health. I didn't know how things were going to turn out. And 3 weeks later, I'm meeting in the room with Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks. So that was a sign for me. Not that I think everybody is great, but it's just these little inklings of things that happen to give you more clarity about your vision and in the impact. Because as you start to transform, the people who are around you, they're not going to see it right away. Everybody's not going to see it. There may be some people who are like, I always knew, you know, but for the most part, it's a very lonely experience. You talk about the dark night of the soul and transformation coming out of that cocoon. People knew you as this individual that you were. So now I need to grieve the person and my friend that or family member that I knew. So we're all grieving, right? And then you're afraid because it's like, I don't know nobody. I don't know anyone over there and I'm going to be alone. I'm really going to be alone until you surrender. And you're going to be meeting Howard Schultz. You're going to be meeting, people that can show you. And I think the biggest thing about it was listening. Because again, I've been given some visions, which I'm sure you have too. You're doing this show all over the world. You in one country, I'm in a whole nother country. This is reaching people all over the world, millions of people. So when you think about it, it feels overwhelming to the human brain. I mean, unless you're like, oh, I'm Beyonce and that's what I want to do. But for me, it wasn't that, right? I want to be obedient to my calling. But hearing his story of going to Milan and seeing 100 coffee shops within a very short radius, starting one of the multi-billion dollar companies in the United States off of one man's vision. So that tells me that whatever vision I've been given, it can happen. It can certainly happen. So that's what gives me hope. That's what tell those little faith-filled manifestations. There's so many, but that one was one that I think was really significant that sticks out to me. So I talk about that all the time, but oh, he's a billion. No, it's not about that. It's the impact from one vision. You look at Walt Disney, same thing. How many Walt Disneys are there now in different parts of the world now? This one man had this crazy idea. We fly in planes. I'm sure people thought the Wright brothers were smoking something, you know? And so that's what gives me hope is to see and be in the spaces and have these things happen, these glimmers of, I call them tiny miracles, happen to say, oh no, you got this. You're not
Yes.
alone.
Yes, it's like they're these big expanders that say, "Okay, you can do it." And you started with this little idea that now is, this huge company or this huge business or even just like really fulfilling your purpose, even if it's not something that's really huge. It's like seeing those people that are really in tune with their calling, which,
Yeah.
I could sense already. Just having met you a few minutes ago, I'm like, I could tell you were in it for yourself, right? You are in your calling right now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to know, because even I noticed for myself as an entrepreneur, now I've been an entrepreneur for about going on 6 years. And there are things that at the beginning of my journey that I never thought I could do.
Mhm.
Whether that was now, having a podcast or recently, a couple months ago, I did a keynote, was like delivered a keynote for a conference that had, almost 400 people. And that was like a
Oh,
really stretchy,
congratulations.
thank you. But it was really like a stretch for me, right? I'm like, oh, I can never
Yeah.
do that. I can never use my voice. I can never be on my, and then slowly I'm like, kind of like, crossing these things off of like, oh, I can do it. And actually, I
Yes.
want to do it. So is there something
Yes.
that you noticed from the beginning of your entrepreneur journey that you're like, I don't know if I could do that? So like all of a sudden you're doing it, right? Whether it's like a book or a show or it's like some opportunity that really stretched you. Does anything come to mind?
So I started my business, my mental health and wellness business in 2017, but I was still active duty. So I didn't really get a chance um, to really be all in, right? As a full-time entrepreneur. And so it wasn't until I retired that, I mean, number one, there's some healing that's involved, right? So I can't, I've been on big stages now and still working on some manifestation things going on now. The platforms are larger, but right now I'm trying to think, if I know there has to be something, but so far I think it's just being able to show up,
Mhm.
because people think, oh, she's done this, she's been an officer, she's done this. But to come back from the shadows of darkness after you've been seen as this entity, to come back, because it's easy to hide. It's so easy. People, you think, oh, I just want to be on here, right? Late night. No, I don't. But when I'm not obedient is when I feel the issues. It's when I feel, the headaches are come back with a vengeance, right? It's when I'm operating in my calling that I'm fueled. That is my energy. And so I think just being able to show up, people may think, oh, she got this because she's already done it. But that's not the case, because you always have these insecurities about, even with my face, like, having Bell's palsy, right? I notice everything and I notice the imperfections. And some people are like, oh, well, nobody has a symmetrical face and this and that. And I'm like, no, but and I don't harp on it or anything like that. But just being able to show up, that's it for me. Being able to get out of the bed, being able to, put on a little makeup, being able to show up. That's it for me, because I really don't have to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of people will probably be like, "Oh, yeah, it looks like it comes easy to you, right?" Or, "It looks like it's so natural," but definitely, like, showing up is even though it can look easy and look natural and look, confident, that there's a whole story behind the scenes of getting to that place, so I definitely resonate, a
It's
lot with
easy to
that.
run. It's easy to run. Oh, this
Yeah.
feels uncomfortable. I could just, hey, I don't feel good. I'm not showing up. It's
Yeah.
easy to run. It's
Yeah.
easy to run. And every day you are climbing that mountain like everybody else.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was reading that, the in the work that you do, that you're one of the things you do with women in your coaching business is you walk them through radical transformation. And I love that word, radical transformation. So, what do you notice about the people that are finding you that are like, I want to work with you? Like the women that are in your program, the women that that are you're calling into your space. What do you notice about the reason why they're like, Malaysia, I need you? What is the theme that you
Yeah.
see?
So many of the women that, align with me, seek me out, they are people who've been doing very well in life, right? They've checked many of the boxes. Their spouses, some are not, some, want a relationship. But as far as their careers are concerned, I've had a client who was in Oprah magazine and, just published a book with a major publishing company. Like all the things, had a thriving YouTube channel. She's real big on TikTok right now. And a lot of people are afraid to walk away from what they know, even though they know their soul is being sucked away from them. They are
Mm,
slowly dying inside. And, they don't necessarily always have clarity on what that next step is and what that looks like, especially if whatever they're doing is bringing in the income, right? To have that life that they live and travel and whatever they do. So it feels scary. But one of the things that I've heard from many of my clients who've transformed, who've had that radical transformation, number one, she closed down her brick and mortar store, right? It was like, and she did something completely different. And one of the things that she didn't know how she was gonna get money, and ended up going into this internship program for a major company, like one of the big ones. and got a paid internship and a scholarship and bought a new car. What? People are not missing a beat here. So
Mhm.
when you surrender, you'll see how things will just be rolled out for you. You don't, oh, I don't know. I got to have this bill paid. I got to have that bill. And my thing is, you're working to just to be able to enjoy the comforts that you can't enjoy when you're not at work.
Mhm.
Right. So you have all, oh, I have this whatever in my house, or I have this and I go to this spa, or I go to this gym. You're killing yourself to pay for all that stuff. When if you just managed your life and aligned with your true calling, something that feels effortless for you, but everybody else struggles with it. Again, your gifts will make room for you. When you operate in your gift, you will start to see those faith-filled manifestations, come to fruition. And so that's what I love about the women that I work with. And sometimes, it does mean some relationships may look different around them. But that's what transformation is, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's such a good point of, like, sometimes it is a harder decision to let go of something that is working already. Like that it's like bringing in the money, bringing in the followers, bringing in the, it's easy sometimes to let go of things. It's like, okay, that's not working for me anymore. But when it is like in some way successful, those decisions are really hard to be like, no, this is actually just not aligned to me personally, not
Right.
not in terms of like the success that comes from it. So that's yeah, that's definitely a big one. But trusting in those faith-filled, manifestations and the miracles that come through when you do create space and
Yes.
just looking for the abundance that exists already and just even reframing that way. I feel like is
Yes.
a huge part. I see that a lot of my clients too. And
Yeah.
when you think about the transformations that you do see and whether it is working one-on-one or maybe it's just in the people that you're speaking this speaking opportunities or podcasts, like do you notice a theme that comes up for people from a mindset perspective of like a lot of people I notice for a lot of my clients a big theme that comes up a lot is scarcity and abundance, like the scarcity
Mhm.
mindset, the abundance mindset that can show up in everything, right? In entrepreneurship and
Definitely.
relationships and finances, like that's been like a big theme that I've seen
Mhm.
across all my work. But I would love to know if there are any, is there a theme that you see in mindset or just like the common thing that you keep hearing across from different people?
Well, the biggest thing that I see, and know what you brought up is very true as well, right? Those are it. But the biggest thing is authenticity.
Mm.
We live in a world where social media says, you notice everybody's starting to look alike now? That same face, them same the same way. And we were all made in the image and likeness of God. But we all want to look alike, right? And so it's like, wait a minute now. Am I going to be that odd person that actually, lives an authentic life? I'm not saying to tell everybody your business, but not showing up on social media saying, yeah, I made $1 million, you know? I mean, you know what I mean? Like everybody made 1 million and less than 1% are millionaire. So it's like someone that challenges that status quo. Somebody who's going to, this came up for me the other day when I was thinking about when Steve Jobs, when they came up with the slogan for Apple, think differently. You notice that?
Mhm.
The people who are authentic, who think different, who think about and experience life with their true whole self. You're thinking with your mind and not what social media is telling you to do, what the trends are telling you to do. And now everybody's depressed because they're judging themselves based on some metrics that someone else set up that's not really real, anyways. Now, what's the definition of insanity there?
Yeah, there's a lot of noise in the coaching industry for sure when it comes
Too
to
much
the
noise.
money and all of that. Yes.
And then you meet people and you're like, "Oh, they're human just like I am. We're all
Yes.
human." And so I that's one thing that I try to really do is operate in authenticity.
Mhm.
Um, without spilling everything and, trauma on other people. But people do, I mean, social media, I'm not showing the days that I just absolutely can't do anything. But at the same, and, but I said, okay, well, maybe I'll be an ambassador for the hidden disabilities and I'll start talking, to other providers and doing workshops on hidden disabilities, right? Because it's okay to be who you are and still utilize your gift. You're perfect just the way you are.
Definitely. And speaking of that, I wanted, I know that there's going to be some people who are listening that are going through kind of their dark night, their winter, they're having a hard time, especially, when we're recording this is right around the holidays. And the holidays are,
Yeah.
not all jolly for a lot of people, right? So there's
No.
there's that heaviness around that just exists, right, as part of the human experience. So for people who are listening who maybe are in that darker season of their life, what
Mhm.
words of wisdom do you have for them? Because I know you have been there, right? You've been there and you've worked your way out of that dark place, but what would you
Yeah.
say as some words of wisdom?
Um, I don't know if I have word because it's like when you're in that, it's hard to even think about the next moment, right? And one thing I found solace with was listening to The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Just listen to it's almost like a meditative book anyway.
Mhm.
And I just went and saw him in DC. It's something about experiencing this moment right here, although it's dark, but having vision to know that there is light on the other side. And maybe there's a glimmer of light now because are you still living? Are you still breathing? You may be in pain. Can you walk? Can you walk with a cane? Can you walk with a walker? What is it that I can be thankful for right now? Are you living on the street while you're healing? What is one thing? Yes, I'm in pain, but I'm alive. I have a bed to sleep in. Do you have medical care? This is just one part of your journey, and you won't understand it right now. But had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be here talking with you right now. I would not have the impact that I have all around the world. I would not have it. I would not be doing retreats with women all over the world. Women who normally can't tell anybody about their stuff because they're the providers that are talking to everybody else, right? So I think it's very important to just honor where you are right now. Because some people don't make it for whatever reason. Maybe their time is done. But I knew wanted to be admiral. I knew I wanted to do 30 years. I ended up doing 20 years and 8 months. And I thought my life was over. What I would say to you is your life is just beginning. And a rebirth and a transformation is painful. When a baby is born, there's a lot of pain on both sides. That baby experiences pain and so does mom. But it becomes a beautiful thing once you're reborn. And so I was offer to lean into that because what I said to myself when I was in darkness was, what if? What if I can heal? What if I can look the way I looked before or better? Right? I honored my body, I honored my spirit, and I honored myself just where I was. And so again, there's something out there that had you not gone through this, you would have been
Mhm.
hard-headed this whole time. You would have never moved to this country. You would have
Mhm.
never met this person that was maybe a business partner or a spouse or a partner, whatever. You would have never
Yeah.
done it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Is huge. I come back to that all the time in challenging moments, and even just hearing clients go through challenging moments. It's like those silver linings, the trust in the process, the trust in the path. That's even is the reason why I called this podcast the Illuminated Path, is
I
because it
love the
is like
name.
really and all the people I talk to and bring on, like, they've had a crazy path in some way, right? Of like, it just took a different direction, took a different detour, but there's like still that
The
coming back to
illumination.
it's the illumination is there. So, yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing so much about your story and your healing. I know the words of wisdom will land and like really be what people need to hear. So if people are listening right now and they're like, where can I find her? Where can I see you? Sign up for things? Like, tell us a little bit about where you hang out and what you have coming up in 2026.
Yes, well, thank you again, Livia, just for bringing this illumination to the world because we don't always see it with what's going on all the time. So, thank you for keeping us connected and having raising our level of consciousness so that we can have awareness. And so I hang out many places, but most social media platforms, Malaysia H. Harrell on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm not really a TikTok person. But yeah, TikTok, LinkedIn, and of course, Facebook. I do have Malaysia H. Harrell there as well. And MalaysiaHarrell.com, especially for coaching or speaking engagements, workshops, retreats. I just love it. I love working with high achieving women and empowering them to, really move into an alignment with their divine assignment. That's where, they're operating in their level mode of genius. That is where the magic happens and it doesn't feel like work. And I have several things coming up. I'm launching my book, God Has My Six. And that's where I launch my formula, my Align Success formula and method. And I have the Align Success Academy, and we do group coaching, individual coaching, but really just trying to impact as many people as possible and creating space, safe space, sacred space, and a sense of community with people who will understand where you are at this time because a lot of people around you won't understand.
Definitely. Wow, amazing things on the horizon and the book. How fun.
Yes.
It's a huge, huge thing to get out to the world. So,
Thank
thank you again
you.
for making some time. Now you have all these people listening from around the world, from Guam, that are, getting connected to your work. So, hope to connect with you again
Thank
soon. Thanks
you.
again.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please rate and review, and don't forget to subscribe. Learn more at enowellnesscollective.com and connect with us on Instagram at enowellnesscollective.